Someone is now pleading for mercy on their knees, chosen ones. They're praying more fervently than they have throughout their whole lives. What they don't want you to know, however, is this. They received many warnings. Stop what you're doing or face consequences you cannot undo. A spiritual practitioner stated, staring them in the eye. Do you know what they said? They chuckled. They intensified their assault on you, saying, screw the warnings. Death has now knocked on their door, and the tower has collapsed. Those who don't listen aren't negotiated with by the universe. Those who use darkness as a weapon against the selected are not given limitless opportunities by spirit. And you will learn precisely what transpired behind the scenes as you went about your business creating your future tonight. Why someone who attempted to destroy you is suddenly afraid of their own shadow will become clear to you. This goes beyond simple karma. This is the judgment of God. Furthermore, no lawyer is able to remove them from this lawsuit. Someone was awake and planning your demise while you were sleeping soundly. They had more in mind than merely bad things to say about you. They went beyond that. They collected others. A little circle was made by them. Spirit may identify it as a coven with only 3 members. And they targeted your life with focused, malevolent force. Their goal was for you to fail. Before your perfect marriage could ever come to pass, they wanted to see it fall apart. When they saw how far you had come, they became really ill. They chose to extinguish your candle rather than addressing their own darkness because your light was too brilliant. But selected one, you have to know something basic about the workings of this universe. They cannot understand the powers that are protecting you. Heaven has predetermined your tasks. Your relationships are divinely planned. And when someone fights what God is doing, they're fighting not just you, but the person who created your fate. Someone who could see into the spiritual world cautioned these folks. They were advised bluntly by a practitioner that their efforts would have disastrous consequences. It was an obvious message. Leave now or suffer long-term repercussions. However, pride is a powerful narcotic. People that are jealous are foolish. Additionally, those who are desperate become irresponsible gamblers who risk everything on a hand they can never win. Thus, they disregarded the caution. They proceeded with their ceremonial tasks. They sent energy that they had no right to send. They attempted to influence results that had already been decided in the celestial courts before they were even born. And now, they're learning what everyone who has ever assaulted the selected has learned. What God has blessed cannot be cursed. What the cosmos has decreed cannot be destroyed. What is unavoidable cannot be stopped. The backlash has started, and it's worse than they thought it would be. They have received a doubled amount of what they put out. Like a boomerang flying at the speed of light, the energy they used as a weapon against you has returned. They sense it too. Yes, they sense it very much. Their chest feels heavy, and it won't go away. They wake up in a panic around 3 in the morning, sweating profusely. They have a deep-seated awareness that they have crossed a boundary that cannot be undone. When they mistreated someone who was protected by God, the protection has now turned against them. They've reversed every spell they've cast. Every goal they set has been reversed. Now, every picture they created of your demise serves as a sneak peek into their own demise. Playing with spiritual powers you don't comprehend might lead to this. The cost of fighting the anointed is this. There is someone in the group who is now going through a loss. Actual, palpable, and heartbreaking loss. It might be an unexpected sickness that is difficult for physicians to diagnose. It might be a sudden and apparently unplanned financial collapse. Their own relationships may have ended while they were preoccupied with destroying yours. Alternatively, it might be genuine physical death. Permanent ends are symbolized by the death card, whereas abrupt upheaval is represented by the tower card. It indicates that something has been totally demolished when both appear together in the spiritual world. Something has been taken away for good. Additionally, they played with abilities that were above their pay grade for someone who disregarded warnings that removal may be their own life force. Additionally, they are now paying an unaffordable price. The universe unquestionably defends its selected vessels, but it doesn't show preference. There's a reason you were picked. The wrath of divine justice awaits anybody who attempts to sabotage your vital mission. Let's discuss what they were really attempting to prevent, however. This animosity wasn't arbitrary. This jealousy was premeditated. They wanted something for themselves, and they saw it in your future. A celestial connection is on the horizon for you. A collaboration that will generate riches for future generations. A relationship that will give rise to something so strong that it will benefit thousands of people. There is more to this partnership than romanticism. Two spirits that have a mission to accomplish together on this earth are merging spiritually. Everyone who interacts with it will experience a change in frequency as a result of this partnership. Your adversaries were aware of this. They sensed it. They sensed that you were getting higher, and they chose to undermine your ascent rather than celebrate it. They attempted to force you to renounce your blessing. They made an effort to confuse you about this wonderful gift that you have received. They wanted you to turn away from what paradise has in store for you. They used deceit. They used illusion in their work. They attempted to cast doubt on your judgment and self-worth. When you were making the only decision that was in line with your greatest objective, they wanted you to believe that you were making a mistake. Here's something they didn't anticipate, however. You're difficult to control. You don't get confused easily. You've experienced too much. They lack the spiritual muscles that you have acquired. You're able to detect when anything is wrong. When the energy surrounding you changes from real to fake, you can sense it. You were able to see through their efforts to obscure your eyesight while they were working overtime. You had a barrier that prevented them from penetrating while they were doing their little rituals and casting their minor spells. Your angels were putting in extra hours. The cosmos itself was rerouting every assault your forefathers launched, and they were running interference. Promote this video so that additional people who are selected like you may discover it if its message resonates with you. Here's a crucial aspect of their strategies that you must comprehend. They weren't only wishing you bad luck in general. They used surgical precision to target certain aspects of your life. Knowing that having money provides you alternatives and freedom, they targeted your finances. They were hoping you would struggle. They wanted to see you worrying about your finances and wondering where you would find your next chance. They attempted to cause delays in your sources of revenue. They tried to thwart the transactions that were on their way to you. They even tried to conveniently forget or create excuses for those who owed you money. This was no accident. This was a well-planned spiritual attack on your financial assets. It was their belief that you could remain little if they could keep you broke. They could manipulate your movements if they had control over your money. However, they overlooked the fact that your offer is not the product of human labor. No ritual can stop your supply from being linked to an endless source. They targeted your creative energies as well. They attempted to provide you with creative blockages if you're someone who makes things, produces material, or uses any kind of media to express oneself. They wanted you to lose your mind. They wanted you to think twice about everything. They intended for you to feel uninspired and trapped. Why? Because they were aware of the connection between your mission and creativity. Your creations are frequency-carrying. Consciousness is altered by the activities you do in the world, and they want to keep that voice quiet. Dimming that light was their goal. They attempted to convince you that you were worthless and that you should just leave and pursue something safe, conventional, and unthreatening to their lousy life. However, something inside of you continued to push even when you felt obstructed. Something inside you was adamant about continuing. Fighting through their meddling was your holy mission. Let's now discuss the really sinister aspect. They attempted to alter your physical attributes. When they were working against you, some of you felt a sense of unexplainable fatigue. For no apparent reason, you felt exhausted. You were plagued by persistent headaches. You either couldn't sleep at all or had nightmares that kept you up. The physical assaults you were receiving were being processed by your body. They desired your weakness. They wanted you to be too worn out to go after your goals, too exhausted to face your destiny, and too exhausted to see your heavenly mate when they came. For a season, some of you felt as if you were walking in mud because of this. It wasn't a depression. Burnout wasn't the cause. Your bodily experience was a manifestation of spiritual struggle. However, your body is strong. You have a strong spirit, and you kept getting back up when they attempted to knock you down entirely. Regarding their effort at emotional manipulation, something must also be mentioned. They attempted to convince you that you were not deserving of the love that was on the way. They sowed doubts about your deservingness of your heavenly connection. They wanted you to think that you were not intelligent, whole, healed, or good enough. They attempted to revive your previous errors and incite your fears. They encouraged you to focus on your past mistakes rather than your future. This is a classic piece of gloomy art. Create self-doubt in the target so they will self-destruct. Make them feel unworthy enough to turn down the gift before it even comes. But you had a superior instinct. You knew deep down that they were not the ideas of your higher self. There was no truth to their concerns. The adversary was attempting to disqualify you from the exact thing you were born to receive with their misinformation. They're in a panic right now. They are recognizing that their idea was a complete failure. They have not only failed to halt your marriage, but they have also hastened their own demise. The walls are closing in on them. They are aware that something is headed their way. They are now praying because of this. They have suddenly become religious as a result. They're pleading with God for compassion since they didn't show you any. They're suffering from a condition known as spiritual paranoia. It's the feeling that you've done something so bad that you're always watching for the repercussions. They have trouble sleeping. They are unable to unwind. They become anxious on every phone call. They go into fight or flight mode if there is an unexpected knock on the door. The second shoe is still on the way. The worst thing for them is that they are well aware of the cause of this. They are unable to even act like innocent victims. They are aware that they caused this. Some of them are returning to the practitioner who issued the warning. Is it even possible? Returning to the person who advised you against doing something after you've already done it and it hasn't worked out. They are requesting spells of protection. They're attempting to undo what they started. Any spiritual opening that will allow them to escape the disaster they made is what they're searching for. Here's the harsh reality. However, not everything can be reversed. Once crossed, certain lines cannot be uncrossed. Only pain and time can bring certain karmic debts back into balance. They attempted to rob you of your fate. They try to seize what was intended for you as their own. It's more than jealousy. Spiritual theft is what it is. Furthermore, no human practitioner may avoid the punishment for taking from the selected. Now let me tell you what's going on with them. One of them is resolving disputes inside their own social group. Now, the same individuals they worked with are betraying one another. They're assigning blame. People are pointing fingers. It was someone else's idea, according to someone. From the inside out, they're breaking apart. When a community gathers for darkness rather than light, this is what occurs. Those who steal spiritually have no respect. They don't help one another when things go wrong. When the light turns on, they disperse like roaches. They're being torn apart by the poison that was once intended to unite them in their fight against you. They are debating who is to blame for the backlash. They are at odds on what to do next. Additionally, they are causing themselves more bad karma in their disarray. Someone in that group is also feeling a great deal of remorse. They are most likely the ones who were drawn into this against their will. A more powerful person manipulated them. They were certain that what they had planned was something you deserved. Now, however, they see the reality. You were innocent, they see. They noticed that you were just going about your day and taking care of yourself. And they're tired of their involvement. Someone is trying to get in touch with you. They want to come clean. They're afraid, yet they want to apologize. They have no idea how you will respond. They are unsure whether you're even aware of what occurred. To be honest, it doesn't matter whether they apologize. Their confession is not necessary for you to proceed. Their entrance is not necessary for validation. Before this incident, you were a different person. The resistance has purified you. The battle of the spirit has strengthened you. It is now significantly more difficult for adversaries to obtain the frequency at which you operate. Throughout your life, you will benefit from the lessons you have learned about discernment and safety. These days, manipulation is obvious to everyone. Before they ever say a word, you can tell when someone is not feeling well. In a room full of smiling adversaries, you are protected by a spiritual radar that you have built. This was not only an assault, it was an initiation. You've also gone by. Your holy unity is secure now. The person you're supposed to be with is more protected by the same heavenly shield than ever before. No weapon used to harm your relationship will succeed. No plot to keep you apart will be successful. What God has united together, let no man throw us under. That goes beyond a wedding promise. It's a law of the Spirit. Your relationship has meaning. It has a task. Heaven approves of it. And anyone who attempts to obstruct it will suffer the same consequences as those who have already done so. There will be more benefits to your union than simply your own enjoyment. It will give rise to enterprises. Others will be given chances as a result. It will create wealth to feed families and finance missions. Because they only saw the surface, your foes attempted to thwart all of that. They were envious when they observed romance. However, the cosmos supplied protection because it perceived destiny. Think about the hubris of attempting to steal someone's fate. That's basically what they tried. They believed they could replace you after looking at your life. They felt they could reroute what was intended for you and channel it to themselves. They thought that they could insert themselves into the narrative that was crafted just for you. It's more than jealousy. Delusion is what that is. Spiritual insanity is what it is. Furthermore, that degree of meddling with divine designs is unacceptable to the cosmos. They were looking for your energy signature. They wanted to anoint you. They desired your task. However, such items cannot be transferred. You can't take someone else's identity. It's something you can only envy from afar. And what's killing them at the moment is precisely that jealousy. This is where it gets even more weird. They viewed you in a prominent and powerful position, and they were intimidated by your accomplishment rather being encouraged by it. They felt as if they were losing while they watched you triumph. They didn't discover their own light because of yours. They wanted to put out yours because of it. This is a sign of someone who functions on a basis of scarcity rather than plenty. The fact that there is enough for everyone is lost on them. They believe they lose something as a result of your achievement. They attempted to lessen your brilliance in the hopes that it would increase theirs. However, light does not function that way. Attempting to extinguish another person's spark just leaves you in the dark yourself. They explicitly targeted your purpose job, the things you were destined to achieve in this life, and the goal you were here to do, which is really diabolical. They attempted to obstruct your heavenly assignments course. Opportunities to put you in touch with the correct individuals were obstructed by them. They attempted to postpone the start of planned initiatives. They tried to make you question whether you were headed in the right direction. They wanted you to doubt your vocation, doubt your talents, and wonder whether you were hallucinating your mission. Here's the reality, however. Purpose cannot be destroyed, but it may be postponed. You may put up temporary barriers, but you can't halt God's plan forever. Heaven has written your task in the stars, and no amount of human manipulation can change it. The fact that they attempted to influence your choices is another truth. They sought to influence the decisions you were making for your future. They attempted to steer you in the direction that would help them or keep you little when they notice you at crossroads. They did not want you to choose the more expansive perspective. They didn't want you to choose the course of action that would make you more successful. They thus attempt to sway your opinion in the background by making certain possibilities seem more desirable while downplaying the danger or folly of your actual course. However, you rejected that manipulation for some reason. Their meddling was overpowered by your intuition. Their delusions were defeated by your inner wisdom. And in spite of all they were attempting to influence you otherwise, you made the right decision. Additionally, they exude a sense of having sacrificed something in an attempt to make their strategy succeed. They sacrificed something in the hope of receiving your fate in exchange. They invested money in their nefarious activities. They gave up their own tranquility. They were so focused on scheming against you that they sacrificed chances or connections. Some of them even used the energy or possessions of youngsters or innocent individuals in their scams. Pictures of individuals unrelated to this battle. To see you collapse, they would have done anything. They're now examining what they sacrificed and seeing that it was all in vain. They exchanged a dream for actual items. They wagered with non-refundable items in hopes of a Wu Jin result, which was never going to occur. The tragedy of envy is that it forces you to give up your now for someone else's future. It is impossible to ignore the money component of their actions. They invested in spiritual workers and practitioners. They made a payment believing they were buying your demise. They invested money on ceremonies and rites intended to prevent your blessings. It's possible that some of them made large payments in the hope that the job would be more successful the more they spent. However, all they accomplished was squandering cash on an unworkable idea. You cannot buy authority over someone who is protected by God. Spells powerful enough to overrule heaven's plan cannot be purchased. They wasted their money trying to achieve an outcome that was never going to happen. On top of everything else, they now have to cope with financial repercussions. They might have built their own lives with the money they spent attempting to condemn you. However, they disregarded their own building because they were so preoccupied with destroying you. Let me now introduce you to something genuine: the motor of destiny. I created this because I was tired of seeing those who were selected be subjected to assaults, treachery, and isolation while their adversaries walked free. I want to assist you in stepping fully into your mission and accelerating the pace of your divine justice. The best part is that you don't even need to move. Destiny Engine turns their failure into your success. This isn't just another app for meditation. Declassified consciousness technology is what it is. The same mind programming techniques that your adversaries formerly used to create competitiveness, scarcity, and fear. Redesigned to match you with the improved, cooperative working structure and reclaim your sovereignty. It creates unique sequences that are aligned with your spiritual destiny. Putting on headphones, hitting play, and watching your opponents continue to dig their own graves is the hardest thing you will ever do. The group upgrade is in progress. Turn all they did to break you into fuel for your ascent by starting your Destiny Engine for only $1 now. The description contains a link. They must now confront the consequences of their actions. They are unable to flee it. They are unable to avoid it. The fact that they targeted an innocent individual and enlisted others in their evil is forcing them to face reality. Some of them are attempting to deal with their guilt by attending therapy or counseling. Some are resorting to religion in the hopes that their debt would be forgiven via confession. However, spiritual repercussions differ from worldly forgiveness. Even if God pardons you, you will still be subject to the karmic balance. Even if you change your mind, you will still have to deal with the consequences of your behavior. Even genuine regret cannot instantly alter the rules that govern the cosmos. There's a procedure. A season exists, and they're now in it. The individuals who assaulted you are, whether they like it or not, taking a lesson from those who came before them. The anointed are not touched. The selected are not to be messed with. People who have assignments are not attacked. You're not simply dealing with a person when you do that. That guy has the support of the whole spiritual army. You're facing heavenly powers that never slumber or forget, including angels and ancestors. The universe maintains flawless records. Additionally, the reaction is prompt and decisive when someone uses one of its designated boats to breach the boundary. Right now, your adversaries are feeling that reaction, and their cries for forgiveness are reaching ears that recall every tear they brought to your eyes. Therefore, remember who you are as you go into this next chapter, chosen one. Keep in mind what you are carrying. Keep in mind that you're not the owner of your life. You are a part of something greater. You are a component of a larger scheme. And a heavenly marriage that will change generations is part of that design. Wealth that will finance kingdom work is part of that goal. Thousands will be inspired by the influence of that idea. There's no way to stop it. Rituals cannot stop it. It cannot be derailed by envy. You're more than simply safe. You can't be stopped. And those who attempted to stop you are now facing the repercussions of opposing fate itself. Hold your head up as you go ahead. When your person shows up, love deeply. Together with your heavenly companion, build without fear. With the upcoming abundance, create liberally. And let the loudest testament to your doubters be your success. They wish for your downfall. They're watching you soar instead. They want for you to be broken. They're seeing you fully instead. They wanted to see you by yourself. They're seeing your union with your heavenly counterpart instead. And in the backdrop of your lovely existence, they continue to beg for compassion that will never materialize since they have refused to extend it when it was needed. You no longer have that issue. It's between the cosmos and them. It is your responsibility to live life to the fullest, flourish fully, and develop into the person you were always destined to be. The conflict is finished. Selected one.